Welcome to the Paranormal Plains, where we share oddities, curiosities, cryptids, and strange stories from the upper Midwest. This is Casey coming in from Minnesota.
And this is Leslie, clawing my way out of your speakers from North Dakota.
This is spooky.
Today we're talking about Minnesota Bigfoot sightings. Did you know there were any in Minnesota?
I mean, I kind of assumed.
Yeah, because we got that Northwoods section.
Yeah, but I haven't looked at the Bigfoot heat map in a while.
Well, that is where most of the reports are from. It's from the northern part of the state. It's remote. Kind of makes sense.
You mean Bigfoot's not just like roaming around in the metro, going to see the giant cherry spoon?
You know, I immediately looked to see if there were any Minneapolis sightings. That's where I checked first. And no, there were not actually. So unfortunately.
Aww.
I was actually surprised though, when I was driving through rural central Minnesota last Saturday, I saw 4 Sasquatch silhouette cutouts just like around in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, yeah, there's one that I pass on my way to work. Whoever owns it will dress it up with Vikings apparel.
Oh, funny!
Yeah, they dressed it up with different things. I think it had a Santa hat once.
That's awesome.
It's super cute.
Yeah, I feel like I don't remember noticing that many before, so I don't know if it's something that's kind of like picking up or people just like having them out. I don't really know, but
it's trendy. So now Bigfoot is cool, so we have to talk about something else.
That's true. There was even a billboard though that I passed. It was for a real estate, and it said, "Searching for Sasquatch is tough. Finding your dream home shouldn't be." I was like, what is happening?
Are there that many people up there going Sasquatch sighting that it's their target demographic?
I guess they're just really starting to lean on it, Minnesota. And there's one area in particular, the town of Bremer.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So after a 2009 Bigfoot sighting, which I'll tell you about in a minute, Bremer named itself the true home of Bigfoot.
That's a big claim.
I know, it's bold. The town says that local reports that Bigfoot sightings go back all the way to the town's founder, who found large human-like footprints in the early 1900s.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so I've been through there before. They have Bigfoot cutouts around town and on the Welcome to Bremer sign. The gas station is called Bigfoot Gifts and Gas.
That's cute.
I know, they have like souvenirs, and they have like a life-sized Bigfoot statue that you can go take pictures of.
Yeah, selfie time.
Also, I love this. One of the articles I was reading, the journalist was clearly trying to start a beef between Bremer and the town in California that calls itself the Bigfoot capital of the world. They were like, oh, the true home of Bigfoot. What do you think about that? Yeah, it was just funny.
So, is Bigfoot actually out burying runestones?
You know what? I don't think anyone's quite looked into that angle yet, and maybe they should. Maybe he should join the lineup. So this 2009 sighting that I mentioned is actually photographic.
Oh.
Yeah, we got some evidence. So 2 hunters near Bremer mounted a trail cam on their property before deer season. It sounded like this was something they did every year. They just wanted to see what kind of animals were passing through the area. And when they took it down a few weeks later, they looked at the photos and one immediately stood out.
Oh.
To see it, you can now open the sealed classified email I sent you earlier.
Yes, it's the email titled 1.
It's cryptid.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, what do you think?
That's totally a guy in a suit.
Casey, it's Bigfoot.
It's Bigfoot. I mean, it's totally Bigfoot. I mean, okay, so it's got that kind of at nighttime trail cam graininess to it. It's got the foliage out front. It's fall time, and we've got a big man just completely covered in fuzz, just big hairy guy, just trudging through. Very like upright posture. Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of somebody in like a Muppet suit, where it's just completely head to toe one color fur. Mm-hmm. And I can't see, the face is obscured by a very small...
Yeah, he's walking away from the camera, so you just sort of see a back.
Yeah, he's going left to right, but kind of at an angle.
Apparently they measured that sapling it's standing next to, and they found out that he would have been 7 feet tall.
Oh.
That's what they claimed anyway.
Yeah, and the most disappointing thing I feel about this whole image is that I don't get a view of that Bigfoot butt.
One of the skeptical things I read about it, one of their main things was that there was no muscle definition. So you're not the only one who was disappointed by the lack of ass. Yeah, when I first saw this, I was like, that's a guy in a big coat. That's what I thought. If you look closely, you can see a line for gloves. Do you see that?
Yeah, I can kind of see
a
what
little
looks...
little flash of wrist.
Yep.
Little racy flash there.
It kind of reminds me of somebody in just, like a head to toe, like leisure suit where the whole thing is just matching.
Like a snowsuit? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe Bigfoot's just wearing a snowsuit. We can't prove that's not what's going on.
Yes, there we go. It is still creepy, though, because if you'll notice, there's no light source. He's not carrying a flashlight or anything. So I am, like, creeped out by this because it was some weird stranger walking around in these dark, dense woods in the middle of nowhere. It's like its own kind of creepy. It doesn't need to be Bigfoot. It's just creepy.
Bigfoot would be less creepy than considering a guy wearing absolutely head-to-toe matching hat, mask, gloves, jacket that they blend in together, walking around at the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you out there? What are you doing? You're not dressed in blaze orange. You're not a hunter. You're just some, like, rando walking around.
I know, right? There's more questions here, I think, than the Bigfoot one.
Yeah.
In any case, even though it's probably just a guy, I really like that we're still getting grainy Bigfoot photos in this day and age, so I really wanted to put that one out there. I will say for these guys, the hunters, they said that they were the only ones who knew where this trail cam was. They also are self-reported skeptics, and they didn't report the picture right away. They wanted to focus on deer hunting season, so they did that. And then, they also gave people a chance to say, oh, hey, did you see anything weird on your trail cam? To see if someone's playing a joke on them.
Right.
So it was only after that they kind of handed the photo or someone to investigate it, but...
Right, so it's not somebody pranking these guys. It's either these guys pranking us, or some rando in the woods, or Bigfoot.
Well, yeah, I think it's either like a rando, or... I don't think these guys are in on it, basically. I think someone was pranking them, because they seemed very... They're not writing books about how they met Bigfoot, so...
Yeah.
In any case, Animal Planet, they have a show called Finding Bigfoot, and they did an episode about this case.
Uh-huh.
They've actually been to Minnesota for 2 other episodes. One was to investigate the story of a man who reported that when he was 5 or 6, he saw a Bigfoot looking in the door of his parents' cabin. The episode was called Peeping Bigfoot. So creepy. No. Yeah. I read most of the reports that they have for Minnesota that this organization that I mentioned earlier collects. They get a lot of calls in, and I guess they only take about 1 in 5. So there is some vetting for these stories they get. A lot of the stories were people in their cars where they're driving, and either they see a Bigfoot cross the road in front of them, or we see it like off in the distance. And then there's plenty of stories from hunters out in the woods. Usually they see something that looks too human-like to shoot, which is reassuring, because very much could just be a guy. Yep. There was other stories that were like human-like calls, human-like screams in the woods. Again, hopefully that's not just regardless. A person. Yeah.
Getting shot by a less scrupulous hunter.
Yeah. There was like some camping experiences, or like some people coming across tracks. Many included that there was a horrible stench, which is something you often hear in Bigfoot experiences.
Bigfoot can't help it.
He can't, but maybe he should try.
Should try harder. Bigfoot musk.
Gross. I'll read you just a couple of the reports that I found interesting for different reasons. They're a little different than the other ones I kind of listed earlier. So in 1978, a couple had just gotten into bed when the wife whispered that there was something outside the window. When the husband turned on the light, there were 3 sets of orangish eyes and outlines of 3 heads pressed against the window screen. The creature seemed to be stooping to look in, and after a blood-curdling scream, they ran off.
That's very Bigfoot. They're, like, inquisitive, and then they have to keep screaming at shit, because that's what they do, apparently, from all of I've heard. Well, so why is Bigfoot such a creep?
I know! I was like, why? How can it be that there's 2 peeping stories in one?
Yeah, and it's like a couple, and they're, like, on their, like, honeymoon kind of thing going on, and the Bigfoot's just, like, heavy breathing on the windows.
that part you made up, but yeah. Yeah, I know. I don't know. And 3 of them, I thought it was a weird story because it was like, I saw a Bigfoot. I saw 3 Bigfoots.
Big feet.
Like,
big feet. You saw 3 big feet because it's multiple Bigfoots.
That's true. Yeah. Here's another one. This one had a very different description than you usually get. In 2009, a couple was driving when they slowed as a human-like creature came out of the ditch ahead. It crossed less than 20 paces from them and had long hair like a Clydesdale horse, which trailed on the pavement. His wife actually asked if it was a werewolf.
So it's a hippie Bigfoot.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was really different because there were stories where you got the very classic description of, oh, it had a cone-like head and basically just describing that famous picture of Bigfoot, the classic one where he's turning around like, what?
Yeah, get my good side. So how is Bigfoot able to maintain such luscious hair without it getting all tangled and nasty? So I'm imagining like the majestic Clydesdale. But there is a lot of grooming that goes into that. So does that mean Bigfoot is meticulous about maintaining?
I wish I was a beauty guru so I could go into like non-sulfate shampoos and stuff right now. But unfortunately, I don't know anything about that. But yeah, I guess being all natural, it helps. Are you ready for this one? This is the last one I'll relate. A bow hunter reported a sighting from 1972. He didn't know about Bigfoot at that time and told his wife that he had seen a gay bear because of the way it swung its arms and hands. I know. It's like, go ahead, sashay, Bigfoot.
I love how it's not a dude in a suit or a werewolf bear, but a bear on two legs, therefore it must be a gay bear. Because it's got its paws out, like...
I know. 1972.
It was a different time.
Yeah.
Something in the water turned the big feet gay.
But damn that gay Bigfoot agenda.
It was all the 3M chemical runoff that they buried turned the Bigfoot's gay.
So there's one more story that I want to tell you, and it's really a saga.
Okay, can it top gay Bigfoot? Because I don't know, man. Like, that's pretty sweet.
I know. Should I maybe I should have ended on that, baby.
No, give me the saga. Give me the big one.
All right. So I'd almost thought about saving this for its own episode, but if we're going to talk about Minnesota Bigfoot, I felt like it had to be included. This is the tale of the Minnesota Iceman.
Oh.
Is this familiar at all?
Oh. I'm thinking yetis?
No, but good. Then I get to tell you the whole thing.
Okay.
Fresh.
Ooh.
There's like a lot of different variations of this story, so it's almost better if you don't know anything about it.
I know nothing. I mean, I think I've probably heard it, but that's the extent. I can claim no other knowledge.
All right. So the Minnesota Iceman is a...
Is he gay?
I mean, he could be. The Minnesota Iceman is a Bigfoot or Neanderthal frozen in a block of ice that traveled around to Midwest fairs and carnivals in the 60s.
Oh.
So it was like a sideshow type of thing. You'd go look at it for a quarter.
Right, okay, yeah.
Well, some of the visitors became very convinced of its authenticity, and they tipped off two zoologists about it, Bernard Hilvelmans and Ivan Sanderson. So these were the two men who actually founded cryptozoology in the 1950s.
Oh, and so they got one of their starts in Minnesota.
Well, they had already started it, but I think that's probably why they were so interested in this right away, and they were willing to believe, or take a chance, I guess, on it to see if it was real. So they came to southeastern Minnesota to investigate the creature where Frank Hansen lived. That's the guy who had it at the time and will throughout our story. He stored the Iceman in a freezer in the off season. So they came to come check it out one Minnesota December. When they asked where he'd gotten it, Hansen said that he was just the caretaker for the Iceman. He said it was actually owned by an eccentric Californian millionaire who is widely rumored to be Jimmy Stewart.
All right.
I know. Okay, it sounds hilarious, and it is.
Yeah.
But do you know there's actually a connection between Bigfoot and Jimmy Stewart?
I do now.
Jimmy Stewart helped smuggle a yeti hand from a Buddhist monastery in Nepal.
What the fuck?
That is not a joke. It happened.
Did it get through customs?
Yes, because it was Jimmy Stewart. I highly recommend everyone go read about the Pangboshi hand.
I mean, that might need its own episode.
Well, unfortunately, it didn't happen in the Midwest, so.
Oh, right.
So y'all have to read about yourself, sorry. Well, when the cryptozoologists examined the creature, they were also convinced. To them, it appeared very authentic. One of them said he thought he could smell decomposition through the cracks in the ice, and they declared it an unknown species. So this really caught people's attention and it got a lot of interest. The Smithsonian was planning on researching it, and some law enforcement began questioning, okay, so if this is a real corpse, is this a murder victim?
Maybe.
Yeah. So apparently there was damage on the Iceman where potentially it could have sustained a gunshot wound to the back of the head. So you can see why people maybe were starting to question that.
Yeah. I mean, if I was going to kill somebody, I would put them in a bear suit, and then I would put them in ice, and then I would travel them around, because it's the perfect way to hide a body.
It's the perfect crime, yeah. I guess the FBI became involved, though, like, they didn't actually send out an agent, because they thought this was a hoax.
Right.
Apparently, yeah, I guess it came to their attention somehow. Hearing all this, and due to, like, all this scientific attention, which he maybe did not want, Hansen kind of began to sweat, and the origin story began to change.
Uh-oh.
Yes, so there were actually a few stories about where he got it. Like you heard, he had told them that it was this mystery millionaire. Well, when he was showing it off at carnivals, he said that it was found floating in a block of ice off the Siberian coast.
Oh.
But there were quite a few stories. I read several. I saw one that someone thought had been killed during the Vietnam War and flown to the U.S.
Okay.
Because I know, like, I guess Hansen had served in the Vietnam War, and there was, like, this ape that had been shot near where he was stationed.
Okay. And then they put it on ice and smuggled it into the U.S. and...
Yeah, that was someone's theory.
Okay.
But in any case, now it finally changed to he shot this thing north of Duluth.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah. So now we arrive at the beginning of the conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm.
When the cryptozoologists returned to take a look at the body again, what they were shown was not the same thing. This time, they said what they were looking at was noticeably different, and this one was obviously a fake. So when they asked Henson about it, he said that he had replaced the original with a replica. I mean, that doesn't make it sound like you probably committed murder at all.
No,
right?
Of course not. That makes him seem even more innocent.
I know. So they kind of did some more digging into it, and it was discovered that Hansen had commissioned a company to make the Iceman for him in 1967, which is before it had started touring. But when they talked to the company, they said this was not like a replica that they were making. There was no original they were copying it from. They just made this Iceman. So from that, the two guys were able to conclude, okay, there was no replica. The original and this replica are the same thing. They believed that he basically just thawed out the Iceman, moved it around a little, and then refroze it. However, some people think this replica story is true, and they think that the original was lost or possibly even taken by the FBI.
Oh no, it got confiscated.
Yeah, I mean, sure. And our final story chapter is that the Iceman resurfaced in 2013.
No!
Yes, on eBay.
What?
Yeah. I know. I'll have you can take a look at that other picture I sent you. That's basically what it looks like.
All right, I'm going. I got an email labeled 2. So
that was a photograph of what it looked like, and it frozen in ice. I mean, you can definitely probably see how a layer of ice would really help to disguise.
I'm looking at this. That's just straight up a super hairy dude.
It's an enigma.
Oh god, so it's just like a big monkey dude. He's got shorter legs, and he's got big arms and a big chest, and he's completely hairy except for his face. It's like some kind of lost link between our bonobo chimp ancestors and an upright human, and man, he's hairy AF. And I noticed that his genitals are obscured. They can't be seen. So that's a nice touch. That's true. You can't just have hairy monkey man dong hanging out. The knees are kind of unhairy, which is funny. And then he's got like his little toes. He's got big old hands. And this expression where like one hand is tragically draped across his forehead and the other one is on his midsection, and then he's frozen in ice.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you'd also notice that he kind of has like his arms sort of out over his forehead. That was one of the elements that law enforcement would be like trying to protect himself.
Yeah.
That was one thing that they were
suspicious of.
Playing
He's
into that.
got nipples too. Let it be known he's got 2 little monkey man nipples. This is how I feel having like not shaved my legs for a long time. It's just like straight up just like bleh.
Yeah, come like March or May or whatever.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
emerge from the winter and you just like, the armpit hair is grown into the arm hair.
Oh my god, it's all
Okay,
one.
it's not that bad. So, did they take any drill into the ice and take any samples or?
Nope, because, it's another classic. Before science could really check it out, the original.
Yeah. First of all, how do you lose an Iceman? I don't buy that it was lost.
Well, yeah, so I gotta tell you about this eBay
Yeah.
listing. So I'm looking at this eBay listing. It was listed for $20,000.
20,000 big dollars?
Yep, 20,000 American dollars. It was selling from Cottage Grove, Minnesota. Local pickup was offered. The listing included the rolling freezer, the creature, and the original signage. Man, unfortunately for conspiracy theorists, even the eBay listing is like, this was a hoax.
Oh!
So, sorry about that. But it was purchased by the owner of the Museum of the Weird in Austin. The guy who bought it, I thought this was such a stupid comment. Apparently he said, I couldn't believe that it had been in Minnesota the entire time.
Where else would it be?
It's called the Minnesota Iceman.
Yeah,
Where'd you think it was? I don't know. It was weird. I guess maybe he had been looking for it. I don't know why he didn't check where the guy lived.
Smuggle it across the border and call it the Wisconsin Iceman? Like, I don't think so.
I was reading Hansen's account where he went back and then said that he shot it north of Duluth. And that's where he says he shot it. But then I was reading something else. And someone was like, it was in Wisconsin. He said he shot it. No. Duluth is in Minnesota. Like, it's really weird how misinformation seems to spread, because that's what the guy literally, he said where he shot it.
I spent the night in the back of my car in Superior, Wisconsin, next to Duluth, and I would not have been surprised if one of these guys came shambling out in the Burger King parking lot and offed me. I'm just saying.
I remember that. I was there for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, also, in this listing, this is just like boldly out of nowhere. It claims that it was crafted by one of the Disney's early Imagineers.
Well, but wait, I thought there was another company that was already involved in this.
Yeah, it was. So it was a West Coast company, but that's all I could find out about it.
Okay.
They're saying that one of the early Imagineers made this. Then who? They don't even say. I was like, out of nowhere.
Yeah,
they really wanted to sell this thing, I think.
Who would just decide to craft a creepy monkey guy? I mean, I hope it wasn't for this, sex reasons.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Okay, we need to start a petition to bring home the Minnesota Iceman, because it's the Minnesota Iceman. It's not Texas Iceman. He's gonna melt down there.
Yes, repatriate the Minnesota Iceman.
So whoever bought it, I wonder if he secretly thought it so that way he could investigate it, or if he just left it as is.
Yeah.
If you had Jeff Bezos money and you could buy whatever stupid shit you wanted, would you buy the Minnesota Iceman and then what would you do? Would you thaw it? Would you leave it frozen? What would you do?
I wouldn't. It looks like it was already thawed. You know what? I should send you the eBay. I'm going to send you the eBay listing because you got to see this picture. It's actually a little disturbing. I mean, it basically looks like, because the ice is thawed, it basically looks like a man just laying in a coffin. Monkey man. I'll send it over to you.
Oh. I got my Minnesota Explorer, 10 must-see hikes in Minnesota. Experience the fall migration. It's pretty cool. 10 fabulous fall color drives in Minnesota. Maybe I'll find a Bigfoot.
The fall Bigfoot migration.
There it is. All right. I have an email labeled 3.
Stop breaking my code to everyone.
Oh, no!
Yeah,
I feel like I could almost see his junk.
It's not good.
It is definitely thought out. Yeah, I don't like that.
Doesn't it look like the grave of Sasquatch? It looks like he's in a coffin and I'm at his wake.
Yeah, and the whole, the arm is still stiffly over the head.
Yeah, I know. Very dramatic. Very dramatic. How would you like that sitting in your garage?
I would not.
And every time you turned on the light, it's like, ha!
No, I would not like that anywhere near me. He's got the same shaggy, silky fur everywhere. Wow.
I don't like where this is going.
Oh, yeah, I don't. And it looks like he's stuck in some old Coca-Cola display case with the glass front door.
I know. It's really weird. So,
dude, he deserves better.
Yeah, repatriate Minnesota Iceman. That's our new hashtag.
Yeah, I like how casually the photo is just snapped at a weird angle, true eBay listing style, with like ugly lens flash on it. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Genuine Minnesota Iceman sideshow Bigfoot 1960s. But the real one, the real, honest to goodness, flesh and blood Iceman, has disappeared because it was getting too much attention.
I mean, to me, it definitely sounded, at first, you're like, oh, people want to say my thing's real? Great, then I can get even more money off of this. And then it was like, oh, you guys want to test it? Oh, no. like he even, kind of disappeared, I think, shortly after this for a bit.
I wonder if he had, a rap sheet and he just didn't want, the FBI attention for other stuff, so he's I just gotta get rid of this Iceman.
Yeah, I gotta dump this Iceman.
It's just like a taxonomy of the Iceman versus Bigfoot. It is like a cousin species, or...
So when they had first checked it out, they said they thought that it was... kind of made this interesting evolution where... evolution. At first, they thought like a missing link Neanderthal, but then once it became apparent, oh, he shot it recently, this isn't something that was just a frozen fossil, then it kind of turned into more of a Bigfoot thing because, well, presumably if it's still here and living, then it's like this other species. So once they got these photos and the illustrations, other zoologists said that this wasn't even the right makeup for type of missing link. It wasn't consistent with what they would look for in that anyway.
Right.
So
supposing that this was real, you're out hunting, you shoot something that's really human-like, and instead of just leaving, you decide to box it up and take it home and add it to your your collection. I mean, it's just, I'm trying to think of I was driving in the middle of the night and hit this, a being, a potential sentient that looked like this. I don't know what I would do. I guess throw it in the back of the trunk.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I was curious to know what you thought because I've seen places where part of the reasons why some people want Bigfoot to be recognized and discovered is because they want him to have rights.
Yeah.
A hunter shouldn't be able to just shoot it out in the woods. It's like
we gotta protect Bigfoot.
Yeah, and I thought it was really interesting. If he was just out in the woods and he shot Bigfoot, is that murder?
Yeah, is that a crime?
Or I would be so interested if this became a court case where they had to find him on the line of evolution, and if he was close enough to being a human, then it's murder. You know what I mean?
What do you think my chances are that I'm gonna have a Bigfoot just creeping in my yurt, stealing my snacks?
From the camping stories I read, what you can try is apparently knocking on trees. Do you remember anything about that?
So are there Bigfoots just everywhere, just listening? I mean, are there hot spots where you go and start knocking and waiting for big feats?
Well, on that, I actually watched an episode of that Finding Bigfoot show, and they are their whole thing about if you want to try and if you're out looking for Bigfoot and you want to contact him, their whole thing is you should knock on a tree, and if you hear an answer back, it's Bigfoot. That was kind of where they laid a lot of the investigation.
Oh. But they can scream. Why would they not just scream at each other?
This is the more subtle version, I guess.
Oh, okay. There's just such a underlying Bigfoot society.
I feel like I read so much for this, and then I had to cut out so much because I thought it was going to run totally over.
Yeah.
And now I have all this Bigfoot knowledge inside of me, and I'm like, oh yeah, you know how they knock on trees? It's just I feel like there's a spectrum of the paranormal that I'm less interested, and Bigfoot is on that end.
Oh, you seem like you don't...
You
don't care about Bigfoot?
Are you I kind of don't. Are you guys, where do you and the listeners, I'm interested. Is Bigfoot one of the things you'd say you're very interested in when it comes to paranormal stuff?
I love me a good saucy, creepy, snoopy, peeper Bigfoot story.
Yeah.
I definitely love the spirits and the past life.
Yeah.
That's my jam. Not that there isn't space in my heart for big feats.
One of the things I read from this Bigfoot organization is I saw 2 different quoted numbers as to how many Bigfoots they thought were in Minnesota. One said they thought 600. Another one said they thought 1,000.
There's not 600 moose in Minnesota anymore.
I know. That's too many, guys. There's not that many. There can't be that many. There just can't. So I don't know. I guess I just, a lot of Bigfoot stuff, lost species that are found again, that's always like really interesting, but they're also always really small creatures.
Yes.
Like it's like a shrew that
Yeah.
reappears. You know, it's not a 10-foot man beast. I think that maybe it would be in a more remote region that's like less explored. I don't know that you're gonna like see one. That I think there's less than 1,000 in Minnesota is what I'm trying to say.
So we've got approximately like 3,000 moose. Mm-hmm. All right, we've got about 2,500 wolves. Plenty of people see moose every year. I mean, they are declining, but we see lots of moose. Yeah, 600 is not a small number.
I'm up in the air.
You're just not convinced. You're not convinced by that trail cam.
Unfortunately not. You know, there's thing that people always say with Bigfoot stuff is like, well, then why haven't we found one yet? And, you know, there's people that say that there's an interdimensional aspect of Bigfoot, and that's why.
Yeah.
And maybe it is. I don't know. I definitely think it's probably one of those things where, like, until I put my fingers inside the hole of Bigfoot's palms, I probably won't believe, is all.
Until their giant fuzzy hands are gently grasped around yours from one primate to another.
Yeah. I mean, like many paranormal things, it's something that, you know, I haven't seen a Bigfoot, so I am not as strong a believer as others might be, but
right.
It's possible.
You know, I definitely I love it. I definitely love the idea. I love the idea of Bigfoot. I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual.
Yeah.
So I mentioned to a friend of mine, and he was like, yo, you got to do a shout out. So shout out to Harry and the Hendersons.
Why?
Because he wanted a shout out, so I'm giving him a shout out.
I veto that shout out.
Oh, but I mean, this is OG late 90s Bigfoot action.
So how was your week, Casey? I read for Bigfoot about 16 hours.
But I will be going camping next week.
Yeah, that's nice.
So I'm excited.
Get you outside.
Come across any paranormal experiences that I can share on the show.
If you hear a single knock the entire weekend, it was Bigfoot, and I expect to hear about it.
As long as my phone has charge before my phone dies, I will go out into the woods and I will knock on some trees and I will tape it and send it to you.
Dude, you're gonna actually see Bigfoot this weekend, and I'm gonna be like, shut the up. Like, no, you didn't.
I'm gonna invite Bigfoot to my campfire.
Like the boy who cried
he's gonna come
Bigfoot.
to our fire. I'm gonna share some berries with him. I'm not gonna shoot him in the head because I believe that would be murder. I will send you pictures of me throwing up peace signs with my pal.
Excellent. Please use the grainy Instagram filter. The grainy trail cam Instagram filter.
But you know it. So, and then for Christmas, I'm going to get you one of those big feet cutouts. And I'm going to stick it right up your window.
Oh my god.
So when you open it, it's just going to be...
Well, no, you need 3 of them, right?
Yeah, it's just like, oh, what's going on in there?
Dude, literally when I kept seeing them, I was like, where's everyone getting these, A, and B, are they $10? How does everyone have these? It's
Let's
cool.
just
It's
I'm
cool.
gonna
I like
I'm
it.
gonna look it up right now.
It's probably the same one that everyone had. I was kind of hoping maybe it was like a secret sign that like, I've seen Bigfoot, and that's why I have this out. You know, but
Oh yeah,
I'm sure it's really just because people think it's fun, which is also nice.
Bigfoot silhouette on Etsy. Sasquatch yard silhouette is $150 with free shipping.
Whoa.
Yeah, so this must be
People really like Sasquatch.
This must be a deluxe. This posting has this cool Sasquatch silhouette, and they totally have their dog in the picture.
That's not accurate. Dogs are usually scared of Bigfoot.
Really?
Yeah, in like the 74 Bigfoot stories I read, that happened quite a few times.
Oh, so I need to bring a doggo with me, so that way they can alert me to Bigfoot's presence.
Yeah, but then anytime that dog like barks, you're gonna be like, oh!
Bigfoot.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to go camping with you and your sister, so that way I can scare her with more Bigfoot stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like some of this gear. You can get a polo shirt with a little Bigfoot silhouette on it.
Work appropriate. I like it.
Yeah, you can get Bigfoot decal for your car.
What's he doing? Just walking?
Flipping you the bird.
Is there really?
Yes.
That's pretty funny.
Bigfoot is just a super hairy dude that hates people and lives in the woods. I think I'm part Sasquatch.
All right. On that note, we will give you our social media because obviously you want to follow us now.
Yeah, and check out Bigfoot hiding runestones while driving drunk in a UFO.
You know, I really do actually like the idea that all paranormal phenomena is the same thing. It's just some sort of trickster.
A continuous running thread.
Whatever you want to say it is. I really like that idea. But anyway, we are Paranormal Planes on Instagram, and on Twitter you could find us at
Paraplanes because Bigfoot's big feet, big socks was taken.
Wherever you're listening to us, please give us...
Yeah, give us one Bigfoot thumbs up.
Give us 5 big feet.
Yeah!